Now we are going to look at confidence. We just did respect and self-respect, self-honor. So confidence means faith with. Faith with. Con means with, and fides is Latin for faith. Faith with. Confidence. So the problem comes as doubt. Doubt in the self, doubt in the sheep bubble, doubt in God, doubt in drama, doubt in the family. And so the opposite of that is faith in self. First of all, faith in self, then faith in God. Or maybe faith in God comes first, then faith in self. You have to decide. And faith in drama. That means whatever happens in drama is fine, appropriate, suitable. It may or may not be pleasant, but it's what it is. I think it's very important. A lot of people, they use the word karma when it's in fact drama. So in this question of faith, nobody ever says anything about faith in karma. It's like that. So faith in drama means it happened because it happened, not because of any other reason. So whenever you use the word because, be very careful that you do not assign a reason for something that you cannot prove. You know, the kettle is boiling because I turned it on. That's okay. You know, and the electricity was flowing. So this is okay. But this thing happened because of my karma. No. How do you know? Could be anything. In some respects, you can consider a particular method that I thought about, that sometimes something happens and your first response to it is, what did I do to deserve this? You experience that sometimes? So when that happens, you could say, with a reasonable amount of certainty, only not total, certain amount, that it may be because of some karma, because your response is, what did I do to deserve this? So that means you feel that you're paying for something, but you don't know what. Then another time you experience something and your first response is, why did this happen, or why me? And that's different, because the word deserve doesn't come in. Why did it happen? To make you strong, to make you experienced. No other reason. Right? So it's nothing to do with karma. But it's beneficial for you because it makes you strong, it makes you experience. So it's kind of teaching. It's some sort of test. And when you get something happening, you know, it could be a test or it could be drama, karma. It's better to say it's a test. Because anyway, it's a test, whether it's karma or not, it's still a test. So if you classify it as a test, you will be correct, no matter what. And then the purpose of a test is to advance. So it makes you strong, it makes you experience, plus as a test, it advances you. Which means that when you are classifying what happens to you in those terms is very positive. It means it's a sign that you have good regard for yourself. You don't consider yourself somebody who should be primarily punished for some horrible thing that you probably did. In religion, they tell you probably it happened because of some horrible thing you did. But in Gyan, probably it happened because you need to be strengthened, made more experience, and have a nice day, enjoy. You see. So it's never good to tell yourself this is happening because I did something bad. Whether you did or not doesn't matter. Tell yourself this is happening because I have some advantage contained within this situation. It's a very, very good sign that you have good regard for yourself. In religion, the people generally say, you know, your identity is you're a sinner, and if you do 100,000 different things, then maybe we will forgive you, maybe not. So that's a form of giving away your power. So this is not recommended. Up to you to say, I am me, I am good. If you don't like it, too bad. You know, there are a few people who are actually not good, and they think they're really marvelous. Okay, it's okay. But don't be deceived, because a person like this may cause you some damage. So in that case, your power of discrimination, your power of good judgment, lets you know that give this one a wide berth as you pass by in drama, because it's up to you who you will get engaged with in terms of interaction, karma, all of this. And you can even apply that to people that are part of your life and family or job or whatever. So there are some people who it's just a good idea to create a certain amount of distance, like COVID people. You know? And sometimes they look like not very good, but actually they're very good. So it's okay to change your mind once you have realized that actually they're not so bad. So that's okay. Sometimes there's somebody you think is really good, but after a while you check a little bit and you find, ooh, not so good. Keep a bit more distance. This is why Baba says, keep good company. So have company with people who, appreciate spiritual knowledge, spiritual practice, spiritual power. And you have to read the signs. Everybody has lots of signs, like labels all over them, which have words on them, but they're all invisible, but you have to be able to read them. Be careful of this person because this person wishes to disempower you, so be careful. There are labels like that on particular people. Or you might say, okay, I want to check and see if I can stay undisempowered by a person who plans to disempower me. That's a competition. You say, okay, let's play tennis, see who wins. So you can do that also. When you are feeling very, very confident about yourself, then you might try to see, test your skills out on different opponents and see how you're doing, because it's very good for you to make your skills better. Or they say in sport, in chess, in all of these games, if you play against somebody who's better than you, that will improve your game, right? And so from that point of view, that's good, then you get some improvement. So It's okay if they're, positively inclined towards you or negatively inclined towards you. Once you know what's what, you have the option. You can say, okay, let's play. Let's see how good I am, how good I can be. And if you lose, okay, pick yourself up again, go to the next player, next performance. But, the natural human being is motivated by the desire to improve. Yes? And if somebody is not motivated by the desire to improve, it indicates that they may not have so much faith in themselves or not have too much confidence. And so then we have to think about ways to increase confidence. So Baba gives us this knowledge which is called Sahaj Yoga. Sahaj means in the context of people. So we're in the context of people and things go well and badly constantly all the time. And if you see in Kalevala, you find one thing that's interesting is that there is continuous and constant conflict all the time. They're always lying and they're always in conflict with each other, and that's just exactly what you need. Because if they're always lying, then you have to decide what's true and what's not true and develop your power of discernment. And if there's constant conflict, then what you develop is your power to face. Because, when the enemy comes to you, you need to not get shot in the back, in the front. So you want to recognize, okay, here's a conflict situation. I'm going to go in there and see how I do in this conflict situation. So it's like, there are people who they want to avoid conflict. Why do they want to avoid conflict? It's because they are not confident about their skills. And how do you become skillful in conflict? By regularly and frequently engaging in conflict. And so this is why in this world there are games. Football is one side against another. Fencing is one person against another in sword fight. So some are team games, some are one person. You can also have a game against yourself, or you play against a computer, something like that. But whatever you do, it's going to improve your experience, improve your skills. So the purpose of conflict is to make you more skillful and improve. So nothing wrong with conflict. But the problem is people think anger is bad. So they think that if there's conflict, it's because of anger. And this is because we're using the term of an emotive term, an emotion of anger, and we're calling it a vice. And sometimes people extend that and they say, well, if anger is a vice, then conflict is a definite vice. So we should avoid conflict at all costs. So when you want to avoid conflict at all costs, then you deal in lying. Go back to Kalevala, constant conflict, everybody lies. So you need both.
It also takes energy.
Conflict takes energy, lying takes more energy. Because if you lie,
not
then...
lying, but going away from the conflict.
Avoiding the conflict, running away, they always run faster. There's a little joke about that, if you want to hear a joke. There's a lion, and there's two guys, and they look at each other, and one of them starts putting on his running shoes, and the other one says, I don't think that's going to help you to outrun the lion. And the other one says, but I'll probably outrun you. So the lion will get the other one. Yeah. So one of the things about this is fear of conflict. People have fear of conflict. And so it's very important for us to look at this power to face in context of fear. So one of the things people don't like or they fear is death, right? Fear of death. So there's two kinds of death. One is you leave your body, and the other one is you lose face. You know about losing face? Yeah. You get exposed. It's like a kind of ego death. And anyway, if we want to complete this course of Raj Yoga, the last words of Brahma Baba was bodiless, egoless, viceless. So death involves ego death as well as body death, and also death of all your so-called vices. That means your inability to be proactive in the face of provocation. So that means we want to develop these skills. So bodiless and egoless and viceless, though they're three words, but they eventually mean one thing. And the big one is egoless, right? So ego is what you develop as a result of trauma. So we already talked a little bit about different types of trauma. So either you get aggressed or you get you don't exist, or you don't have any value or whatever. So people are circumstantially diminished. You're disempowered, you're hurt, you're shocked, you're victimized, various things like this happen. And going back also to the idea of the colonized people and the colonial people. So the colonial people tend to do this to the colonized people. And so this can happen to a whole country, a whole culture. So then you have to take a look and see in your culture, what are the attributes of ego that are dominant? So ego is a flip-flop between superiority and inferiority. So in a general way, the colonizers may be probably more arrogant, more superiority, and the colonized are more inferiority. Because the game of colonizing people is to make the people you want to colonize feel inferior. So we live in a world which is very polarized. And so the first polarity that we have to deal with is the male-female polarity. So we live in a world which is more patriarchal at the present time. Although if you look in Finland, you see that it has lots and lots of signs of matriarchy, but which are a bit subdued because the overall culture of the world is patriarchal. But if you are fundamentally matriarchal, then the matriarchal self will pop up and say, hey, 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 what are you talking about? Right? Me being disempowered, excuse me, what is this? Cool it. And you apply your power to face to challenge the assumption that it's easy to make you give up your power. And you say, no, no, no. Me give up my power to you? Are you kidding? What are you talking about? Oh, this is the custom. Maybe your custom and not my custom. See? So you need to come into these situations to reinforce your power to face. Because who are you? Because if you don't come into situations, your powers atrophy. So atrophy means they kind of die and they don't work anymore. So if you have people who are constantly lying and there's constant conflict, your powers have less chance of dying because you always have to keep using them. So you keep giving them life by using them. If you don't use them, they die, they atrophy. And so in that case, you will say, yeah, well, lying, cheating, stealing, conflict, this, that, very good, I like. See? But in normal people, we are not normal. Normal people, they think you should avoid conflict and you should be nice to everybody and all that stuff. But after a while, you realize that that is not a good idea because it is disempowering, fundamentally disempowering. And it makes you put yourself in a lower position vis-a-vis someone who is challenging you. And if you're a good fighter, you don't do that. Somebody challenges you, you pull out your swords and you say, okay, let's go. Boom. If you go back to the Kalevala and you see Vainamoinen, he's an old guy. He always wins the fights, right? And if he sees any problem, he just gets on and does it, deals with it. He doesn't ask anybody permission or anything like that. He knows who he is, he knows what to do, and he goes ahead and does it. And he has tons of magic, which sometimes doesn't work. But he doesn't mind, he just finds another good spell and off he goes. And if he makes a mistake, no problem, he'll get up and try again. You see, so this is a very, very good model of how to function in the world as it really is. And if you look at the Kalevala, it says very clearly, especially at the end, the purpose of this poem is for people who will take birth 1,000 years from now. Future generations, he's always talking about future generations. Because the problems that face people keep coming and keep facing. And so the problems don't atrophy. So our powers and responses and so on also must not atrophy. So if you are constantly having to use your powers, power to face, power to dance, power to do all the things, sometimes you have to withdraw, not run away, withdraw, wait for circumstances to change and then go in there again. There's also there. Power to endure, sometimes you have to endure pain, this, that, okay, but you won't be taken out or taken down by this. Because when you have to endure, it increases your ability to endure. If you don't want to endure anything, then you lose the ability to endure at all. So this is why you find in the freezing Finnish winter, people running around in bathing clothes, swimming in the snow. Means you can handle cold, these other people can't, you see. So it's like this, you cultivate your power by working with it in circumstances which call for it. But you have to be, when you're getting expert in the use of powers, you have to be like dancing, because, you know, the other people have their powers. And they also use their powers. And their powers may be stronger than your powers. So then you have to use a different power. So you have to be quick in this conflict. So in the Kalevala, there's somebody says, okay, I got this magic spell and I'll do it. And the other one says, you know, I got another magic spell which will cancel out your magic spell, and they do that. And then you have to quickly get another one which will cancel out their magic spell, and then, you see. So conflict is between and among equals, really. In the patriarchal system, they want to have no conflict. You want the top guys, the strong guys on top, the weak guys underneath, strong guys getting stronger, weak guys getting weaker. It's an imbalance or an unbalanced situation. So when you have constant lying and constant conflict, then you keep the balance. And when you keep the balance, then there is durability. So a situation where it's unbalanced, like we have in the world today, is very fragile. So the culture, the messages that we get from people everywhere, it's all about, you've got to either be the top guy, the predator, and if you're not the predator, you become prey. And in the BK world, you experience this message quite a bit. Yes? And the world says the message is, you better be a predator, because if you're not, you be a prey. So what do you want? And you say, I don't want to be a predator, I don't want to be a prey. What kind of choice are you offering me? I don't play that game, right? Or not? That's the message. It says the game is predator and prey. And you say, sorry, no deal. I don't do that. I work with equals. Daddy Yankee used to say, it's very easy to get into predator-prey relationships. Very difficult to get into relationships of equality. But they're very good. They correspond to this aim of our Raj Yoga practice of being Lakshmi and Narayan. So one is male, one is female, but it's not one is on top of the other. One is predator and one is prey. They are complementary, you see. So if you say the aim and object of Raj Yoga is to become Lakshmi and Narayan, then you're not talking about predator and prey. So if the game is predator and prey, then it's not Raj Yoga, it's something else. Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So what you want? You want to be in complementary relationship with the other players. And that means you feel okay if you're not the supreme commander of the whole universe. Because people who are very insecure, they need to be the top guy with everybody else really small, otherwise they feel very insecure. Yes? But if you are in your power, I'm a powerful soul, Baba said so, so I must be. I enjoy conflict, all this stuff. And and I play with my equals because it's more interesting, you know. How can you enjoy if only there's some people down there somewhere? You can't, it's lonely. So you have to be with your equals who are sometimes win the match, sometimes you win the match, whatever it is, but you like to play tennis, right? So this is the thing. And it's going to increase your confidence. So what that means is when somebody tells you the game is a game of predator and prey, you say, it's not. It's tennis, and we're going to do that. And if you think you can be the predator and I can be the prey, let's see. So that means to say, we're talking about Aikido as well, right? Aikido? So some people think that when you do martial arts, you don't hurt the other person, right? Martial arts means these kind of conflict, jiu-jitsu, or yeah, all these karate, and so in Aikido, it's perfectly okay to intend to hurt the other person. Doesn't mean you have to go ahead and damage them, but when you are in conflict, then hurting the other person and the other person getting hurt is likely. And so what happens is a time comes when you have to admit defeat. Because if you admit defeat, then nobody needs to break your arm. Because there comes a time when they have you in a position where they could break your arm. And if you don't admit defeat, they will. So, but they give you the option. Okay, I've got you in a certain hold. I can break your arm just like that. Do you admit defeat or you want me to break your arm? So, the correct way is admit defeat.
Admit defeat is run away.
No. Admit defeat means you win. It's okay. I accept that you win. You know, but you don't run away. Yeah. Run away means he will run faster. He'll run after you. No. Defeat is different. Yeah. You admit defeat. And so this is something Dadi Prakash Mani used to talk about quite a lot. And she was a really fabulous leader. And in Hindi, the word for admitting defeat is harmony. Harmony. And she said, it's like your English word harmony. You see. So if you want to have a relationship of egalitarian relationship and you want to have harmony, then if in any situation you are wrong and you are challenged and proved to be wrong, you have to admit defeat. Because if you don't, you can't have harmonious relationship. That's interesting, no? Because if the person doesn't admit defeat, then there's a never-ending conflict. And one of these days you will break their arm. And then they will resent it, and they'll come back and break your leg, you know. And it escalates and becomes World War V, you know. So this question of having self-confidence and going for a game where either player could win, And if you lose, you have to admit defeat, and you have to be a good loser. So, there is a lot of interest in this world in tennis. A lot of people very interested in watching the tennis championships, Wimbledon and other such games. And so sometimes you get players who are really good, but they're really bad losers. And instead of admitting defeat and shaking the hand of the opponent and saying, you played well, they'll break their tennis racket or something like that, you see. That's not very good. Accepting defeat means there's nothing wrong with losing that particular game. But if you get really angry and you don't congratulate your opponent for playing well, it means you have a problem. Now you have an unresolved trauma. You're not as good as you think you are. And so you need to do some work, because you can't have harmony with the other players, you see.
Is it a form of power to face? Because you need to face that you've been defeated at that time.
Yes, but if you don't, it means you don't have power to face.
Yeah.
It means you don't have power to face yourself. It means you haven't broken your ego.
Mm.
And that you're operating on the basis of ego. Flip-flopping between I'm the best and how dare you make me look bad, you see. So that is called weakness. And for us, when we get a lot of opportunity to have constant conflict, lots of lies, all of this stuff, you say, okay, I'm in the game. And you get so many opportunities to let go of your ego if it's there. And if you look like, publicly, you look like you're a big egomaniac and people show you the video of your reaction, what do you feel is shame? You see, shame is a very toxic emotion, you see. And so that's like a kind of illness of the soul. So that person needs healing. So in Raj Yoga, there's a lot of healing involved. And so there is this matter of purification. There is this matter of karmatit, means you have no outstanding, unresolved traumas. And then you are healed in the sense of you're pure. All of the damage that you took, the sorrow that you took, you become okay about it, and then all this goes towards creating this ego death, because when you go to the inferiority side of the ego, the pair of egos, superiority, inferiority, so this feeling of shame is connected with inferiority side of ego. And that means there is unresolved trauma, and you have some work to do. You have some things to sort out. And just proving that you're the best tennis player in the world until somebody else beats you, because you can only be the best in the world until somebody else comes along and is the best in the world. Sooner or later they will come. And then if you fall in pieces, that means what's going on? You think you're the best in the world, but what's really going on is you haven't died from ego. And so, Baba says Brahma Baba is the best in the world, which means there have to be many opportunities for Brahma Baba to see for himself and for other people to see whether or not he's operating on the basis of ego. So sometimes you can look at people who become heads of religious organizations, big super gurus or whatever, or they may be head of a gang of, assassins or whatever. Anyone who comes into a position of head, they have to face this exam to find out whether or not they're there because of ego. See? So one of the things that is there in leadership is tyranny. You know, tyranny? Everybody knows this word, tyranny. Can you say what it is in Finnish? Tyrannia, that's pretty close. So a tyrant wants to be the top and everybody else down. So he's very cruel, very damaging, and so on. That means he's not a very good leader, and sooner or later somebody will chop off his head and throw it down the road. And that'll be that. So the good leader is connected with, one who works with equals. Because one day maybe you're not well. And then what happens to the leadership? You have to say, okay, you take over. Because you're egalitarian. And you can change places with each other for the purposes of leadership function, Otherwise, you get yourself in trouble and you put everybody else in trouble. So all of this is connected with having faith in yourself and faith in the family and faith in the Baba, because anyway, he's the big boss, right? You think you're the big boss, you can dispense with God, he's going to say, okay, let's see how you manage. Because circumstances very often become such that they're so big that you have to say, Baba. And this is also where a kind of, if you don't have faith in yourself, it's difficult to have faith in Baba, because you will think on some level he may fail you, and then you look for support from someone else, you see, and they will definitely fail you. Baba will not fail you, but there's always a risk, so you have to take the risk that Baba will not fail you, because he's testing you all the time to see, do you know who I am? Do you understand what I am? And then you can have faith in drama, because that's his baby, the drama. He says, I'm the creator, director, main actor. So you say, okay, that's good. Your drama. Your drama is good, your drama is beneficial. And that means it is. And if it doesn't feel beneficial, you have to look at it in another way until you get the angle on it where you see how and where it's beneficial. And that may take time, that's okay. See? So, confidence, faith with yourself, faith with Baba, faith with drama, faith with the family. It doesn't mean every single member of the family is the same as every other single member of the family. Everybody is different. You need to know who to trust, who not to trust. But overall, you have faith in the family. See what I mean? Some people think that when Baba says have faith in the family, it means you consider that you can have equal faith in all the family members, even though everyone is number-wise. So that means you haven't understood. You need to be a good judge of character. You need to know who to have faith in. So have faith in the family overall, and that means don't just reject the whole family because of one person doing one thing that was not okay. Some people do that. But what it means is the family is made up of all kinds of people, and one or two of whom are the right people for you to give your trust to at that particular moment on that particular subject for a certain amount of time. And but you're not going to trust everybody for everything all the time. That's stupid, you see. But sometimes Baba will say something and people will use faulty logic to arrive at a conclusion which is faulty. So this is why I clarified it in that particular way. Yeah. Because, you see, in any gathering, you have, well, one thing that you can say, okay, in the way Baba describes the world, he says that in the war there are Pandavas, Kauravas, and Yadavas. And he sometimes says, okay, the Yadavas are the scientific people, the Pandavas are the BKs, and the Kauravas are the body-conscious people of India, you see. But that's a very broad stroke. Then you could say, okay, in this room, we are however many people we are, 15 or something, okay? Everyone is different. And in a small group of 15, we're probably all pretty much the same style of people. We will say, yeah, we're Pandavas, okay, fine. Now you get a group of 5,000 people. You've got a lot more possibility of variation. And in a group of 5,000 people, you could have 5% Pandavas, 95% Kauravas, and then a bunch of Yadavas who don't come in that 100% because Baba said 95 and 5. On another occasion, Baba had said that you can satisfy not more than 95% of people. There will always be some people, 5% of people, who will not like, who will not cooperate. That doesn't mean you're not doing what you should be doing. And so you can look at gatherings of people in the understanding that different people have different competencies. Some really understand Baba, some really don't. Some are body conscious, some are soul conscious, some are this, some are that. You've got the whole thing. You need to understand that while this is a gigantic family, keep good company, you see. You select those who are your kind, you can say. So your kind means people who have your values, people who are similar in their principles, what's important, this kind of thing. Because everybody's different.